Hello guys, here we'll move on to the next topic of this unit, DC machines. So we need to discuss today about the characteristics of DC machine. Characteristics of DC machine. So as we know, there are different types of DC machines. So we cannot we need not to study all the characteristics of all motors. Just for an example, we are going to take only one motor. That motor is separately excited DC motor. So first, what is this separately excited DC motor? I didn't told you the broad classifications of DC machine. I just told you about only two motors, that is series motor and shunt motor. There is a broad classification in DC motor. Anyway, this is not there in the syllabus. Still, I tell you because we need to study about separately excited DC machine. So when it comes to DC machines are broadly classified into two categories. One is self-excited machines. Another one is separately excited machines. So in self-excited machines, we have three types. One is series machines, shunt machines, motor machine, one and the same. That might be a generator or motor, so I'm calling it as machine. Compound machines. Again, in compound machines we have two types: long shunt compound machine, short shunt compound machine. Again, in that we have two different types: cumulative type, differential type. Anyway, these things are not required as a point of exam. Why I am telling? Because we need to understand what do you mean by separately excited machine. So first we'll study self-excited machine so that it's easy to understand separately excited machines. So self-excited means while studying the construction and working of DC machine, we were discussing about poles. So this is pole, right? So here we have pole windings, that is nothing but field windings, and these field windings are excited from the DC supply. Why it is excited from the DC supply? To produce the magnetic flux in the entire air gap of the machine. Okay, so where we are applying this voltage? In the last videos we were discussing about series machines and shunt machines. So for an example, we'll take shunt machine. So shunt machine means what? We have armature of the machine. This is armature of the machine. So here we have brushes. So this is going to represent as AAA. Armature is represented as AAA. So I hope you have seen this in the lab. So this is going to produce the back EMF in opposition to the supply voltage. Here we have supply voltage. We'll call it as VA, that is plus minus. This is nothing but DC voltage. Here we are giving the voltage, that is DC voltage, which is going to take a current, line current. Why it is called shunt machine? Because this field windings is connected in parallel with the armature of the DC machine. So this is ZZZ. Field winding is represented by ZZZ. Now your armature is going to take the current, that is IA, and your field winding is going to take the current ISH. Right? So why this current ISH is flowing here? Because we applied the voltage here. For the armature and for the field winding, to excite armature and field winding, we are giving a common excitation. For field winding, we are not giving separate supply. For armature, we are not giving separate supply. For both field and armature, we are giving the same supply. Right? We'll come to the series machine. Series machine, same thing. So here we have armature, RA, AA, EB. So series winding means, series machine means the field windings are connected in series with the armature of the motor. So here we are applying the supply. This is RSC plus minus. See, here also same thing. We are applying the same common voltage for both motor, armature and series field winding. Here we are giving the common voltage for both armature and field winding. When we give the common voltage, so this is not actually the supply given to the field winding. The supply is giving to the armature. With that voltage only, the field windings can able to generate the magnetic flux. So that's why this type of machines are called self-excited. Means the field windings are excited by the common voltage which is given to the armature of the machine itself. So that's why it is called self-excited. Then what do you mean by separately excited? See here, in the lab, in the lab we are using a DC machine, that is actually separately excited DC machine. So here we have the motor, armature, not motor, which produces EB, A, AA, RA, and this armature is excited from some supply. Let me call it as VA. This takes a current IL. So this takes a current IA. Field winding. We have to write field winding. So here we have field winding. Here we are going to give another supply, that is VF. Why I'll call it as VF? Because this is the supply given to the field winding. That's why it is VF. So this is going to take the current IF, field current. Okay. See here, from this circuit diagram, what we can write? IL is equal to IA, because whatever the current drawn from the line, the same current is going to the armature, that is IA. So IF is given by VF divided by RSH, the resistance of shunt field winding, separately excited field winding, or you can call it as RF itself. Okay, this type of machines are called separately excited machines. Why it is called separately excited? Because the field winding is excited from the separate DC source. Here the field windings, in both the case, the field windings are excited from the same common supply source. So this is what separately excited DC machine. Now what we need to do? We need to study the characteristics of this separately excited DC machines. There is no subcategories in this as in case of this. So separately excited is a single type of machine. That is what this one. You can recall that in the lab you are going to connect the connections for two DC supplies. So one is for VA, another one is for VF, between ZZZ. So this is Z, this is ZZ. So that is a separately excited DC machine. Okay. So what are the characteristics we need to study in separately excited DC machine? See, separately excited DC machine, first thing we need to study is armature torque. We already derived equation for this armature torque. So how the armature torque varies with respect to the speed. Armature torque versus speed. This is the first graph we need to study. And another graph is speed versus current, armature current. Speed versus armature current. And another one is armature torque versus speed. Armature current. So here the things we need to study is N, TA, IA. So N versus TA, TA versus IA, IA versus N. So this is what the characteristics we need to study. Let's move on to that. As we know, the torque equation, armature torque equation is given by 1 by 2 pi times of, so what is the armature torque equation? P into Z by A, phi into IA. This is the armature torque equation. So what is the back EMF equation? Phi Z N P by 60A. Okay. Now we need to plot the graph. See, here we have armature torque. Here we have armature current. We need to plot a graph between these two. Okay. See, 1 by 2 pi is constant as we know. Pz by A is also constant, where P is number of poles, Z is number of conductors, A is the parallel path. This will not change while the machine is running. Phi. So, for shunt motor, this phi is constant, that we have discussed. For series motor, this phi is not constant. When we write the equation generally, what we are going to write? TA is directly proportional to phi into IA. In case of shunt machine, this phi is constant, so we are going to write TA is directly proportional to IA. In case of separately excited machine, see here, we need to know whether the phi is constant or not. We have applied the voltage and this is going to draw some current IF, and we are not changing anything inside this. We are not changing anything. We are applying load on the motor. We are not disturbing anything in the field winding. So when we don't disperse anything in the field winding, this IF current will not change. Whatever it will take initially, the same current it will take until you switch off the motor. When this IF remains constant, what happens to the flux? Flux is also constant. In case of separately excited DC machine, this flux is constant. So what we can conclude from this? For both separately excited DC machine and shunt DC machine, the flux is constant. So flux is variable only in case of series machine. So this is what, now the equation can be changed as TA is directly proportional to IA. So what is that? TA is directly proportional to IA. Let us plot the graph. So this is TA, this is height IA. How the graph will be? These two are directly proportional. Directly proportional means a straight line passes through the origin. So this is what armature torque versus armature current characteristic of separately excited DC machine. So first characteristics, we are done with the first characteristic. Second characteristic, speed versus armature torque. So here we'll come to this equation. EB is directly proportional to N because Z is constant, P is constant, 60 is constant, A is constant. So EB should be directly proportional to phi into N, but phi is also constant in case of separately excited DC machine. So I can write EB is directly proportional to N. TA is directly proportional to IA. EB is directly proportional to N. But I want the characteristics between N and TA, where N and TA are nowhere connected with each other. See here, see the formula of armature torque. We are nowhere get anything regarding N. It is free from N. So here we have N, which is related to EB. I can say armature torque is independent of speed. So if you plot a graph for this is your armature torque, this is the speed. Irrespective of armature torque, your speed remains constant. Even your armature torque increases or decreases, the speed is constant. And this happens theoretically. Only in case of theoretically. Practically what happens when you switch on the motor, and when the torque on the motor increases, the speed doesn't remains constant. It is not perfectly constant. For example, if it is running at 1000 rpm, even if you increase the armature torque, you cannot say the speed is constant. Speed slightly decreases, not rapidly. You cannot write this like this or no. So it is very small decrease. For example, if it is running at 1000 rpm initially, when torque is minimum, when torque reaches its maximum value, the speed may drop to around 950 rpm. So very small change. So this is practical. Theoretically, it is constant. Irrespective of armature torque, the speed should remain constant. But practically, that doesn't happen. There is a small decrease in the speed. So this is the second characteristic, speed versus armature torque. So what is our third characteristics? Speed versus armature current. Anyway, we know armature torque is directly proportional to armature current. Since it is directly proportional, I can write the same characteristics. N versus TA, I can replace this TA with IA. N versus IA. So the characteristic remains same. So this is IA, this is N. So theoretically it is constant, practically there is a small drop. I hope that you have plotted this graph in the lab. So that is what the same graph we were discussing. Fine. The next topic is speed control of DC machine. How to control the speed of DC machine? Remember, here we are not changing the load. So as you know, as load on the motor increases, speed changes, speed decreases. As load decreases, speed increases. So that is not speed control. Speed control is different. We are keeping the load constant. By keeping constant load, we have to vary the speed of the machine. Okay, that is called speed control. So how to do the speed control for DC machine? That's what we need to study. That too for separately excited DC machine. Speed control of separately excited DC machine. Okay, this is what the topic is. Okay, first we'll write the back EMF equation which relates the speed of the DC machine. EB is given by phi Z NP by 60A. So this is the back EMF equation. Here we'll take this equation with respect to N because we are varying the speed. N is equal to cross multiplication EB into A into 60 divided by phi ZP. Okay. Here N is equal to, see, even though in case of separately excited DC machine, phi is constant, but right now I'll not consider the phi is constant. I'll tell you why. Apart from the phi, these things are constant. A is constant, 60 is constant, Z is constant, P is constant. So I can write all these things as K. K is equal to 60A by PZ. K into EB by phi. So what I can write? N is directly proportional to EB by phi. What is EB? EB we know that for separately excited DC machine, VA minus IARA. It is same as your shunt motor. You can see here VA. VA is given by EB plus IARA plus brush contact drop. Brush contact drop will be there, but right now I am not considering that brush contact drop, so I will write EB is equal to VA minus IARA. This is the equation. Let me substitute this here. What happens? N is directly proportional to VA minus IARA divided by 5. When you observe this equation, we are not changing the load. We need to vary the speed. See here, current, armature current. As we know, the armature current is independent of control. Means you cannot give a specific value of armature current. You cannot control this current first of all. It depends on load condition and it depends on speed condition. So it is independent of your control. You cannot control armature current. RA is constant because it is made when you wounded the windings of the DC machine. So which are the variable things? Phi and VA. VA is the supply voltage. You can change the supply voltage. By using a control, you can change this supply voltage. Phi. So yes, in the previous case we were discussing the phi is constant. But we can make this phi as variable. I'll show you how to make this phi as variable. Because phi is directly proportional to field current. Whatever, if we increase or if we vary the current flowing through the field windings of the DC machine, obviously we can vary this flux. Here the speed is inversely proportional to flux. Means if the flux increases, speed decreases. If the flux decreases, speed increases. So we can control the speed by changing the flux. First point, we can control the speed by changing the flux. And see here, VA, armature voltage. VA minus IARA. IARA is not in our hand. So if you increase the value of if you increase the value of VA here, keeping this as a constant, let us assume this is constant. Even it might vary. We don't bother about it. If you increase this value, if this is constant, what happens to this numerator? Numerator also increases. When numerator increases, obviously N increases. So N is inversely proportional to phi and N is directly proportional to VA. So to have a better control over the speed, we have two methods. One is by controlling the armature voltage, another one is by controlling the flux. So we have N is directly proportional to VA minus IARA divided by 5. Okay, first we'll see how to vary the flux. Motor EB opposes the supply. So here we have the supply, that is VA plus minus IL IA. So here we have field windings. Here we have the supply VF. Here current IF flows. This is ZZ plus minus. What we need to do here? We need to vary the flux. Either we have to increase the flux or decrease the flux to increase or decrease the voltage. If flux increases, speed decreases because it is inversely proportional. Okay. Now what we need to do is, we have applied some voltage. Let us say we have applied 220 volts DC. We cannot change this voltage. That voltage is constant. But we need to change IF. How how it happens? So that is the question. For that, what we'll do here is we are going to connect a rheostat. We are going to connect a rheostat in series with the field windings. Now what happens? Initially, I'll keep this rheostat in cutout position. What do you mean by cutout position? No resistance is added. Completely the resistance is 0. I'll keep this rheostat in cutout position. Then what happens? The maximum current flows in the windings. When maximum current flows in the windings, maximum flux produced in the winding. When flux is maximum, motor runs at low speed. So machine is running at lower speed. Now I need to increase the speed. Initially, machine runs at low speed. Why? The rheostat is in cutout position. Let me write it as RH rheostat. I have kept this in cutout position. Maximum current flows in the field winding. Maximum flux produced. Since N is inversely proportional to the flux, speed is low. Motor runs at very low speed. I need to increase the speed gradually. So what I'll do, I'll take this rheostat to some different position. Means from cutout to cut-in. I'll move this rheostat from cutout to cut-in. So what happens? Resistance is going to add. When we take it from cutout position to cut-in position, slowly the resistance is getting increases. When this resistance increases, what happens to the current? Current decreases. Remember, here we are not changing the voltage. We are keeping voltage constant. By keeping the voltage constant, we have to vary the current. How to vary the current? This is what the method is. So we are going to increase the resistance. When we increase the resistance, what happens to the current? Current decreases. When this current IF decreases, what happens to the flux? Flux also decreases. When the flux decreases, automatically speed will increase. So by this method, we can set the speed to any value. So initially it might run with 1000 RPM. We can take the machine up to 2000, 3000 RPM by changing the flux. How to change that? This is the method, and this method is called flux control method. Flux control method. Very simple. So I'll explain again. As we know that speed is inversely proportional to flux. By varying the flux, we can vary the speed. So when the flux is low, speed will be high. When the flux is more, speed will be low. So initially what we'll do, we'll keep this rheostat in cutout position. So when it is in cutout position, no resistance is added. Maximum current flows through the windings and maximum flux produces. Motor runs with lower speed. When we bring this rheostat from cutout position to cut-in position, resistance is going to add. When the resistance increases, IF decreases. When the field current decreases, the flux produced also decreases, so that the speed increases. So very simple explanation. So this is what one of the method of controlling the speed of a DC machine. So that's why I told you I'm not going to consider this as a constant. So we have to take this as a variable thing, because we are varying the flux. Okay, this is one method. What is the another method? One more method we have is armature voltage control. So I'll write another circuit. When it is armature voltage control, we need not to change the circuit of field. Field circuit is constant. Same. VF plus minus. We are not adding any rheostat here. So here the field current IF is flowing. Z, Z, Z. Yeah. Here we have motor, brushes, EB. Here motor is going to take the current IA plus minus VA. IL. So now we are not changing this voltage. Again, as here we have done, we are not changing the voltage, this supply voltage. So just for the sake of understanding, just here I am going to consider this as Vs and this voltage as Va. Have done nothing. Instead of Va, I have taken it as Vs, because in the previous case, whatever we are studying, whatever the voltage I will apply here, the same voltage I have to consider here. So Va, whatever the voltage I will apply here, the same voltage will be here. So I am going to take as it is, but here that will change. So I will take the voltage across this armature. This is your armature. A is the armature. Voltage across the armature is Va. So I will take the supply as Vs and voltage across the armature as Va. What I need to do, I have to vary this one. If this Va is maximum, the speed will be maximum. If this Va decreases, speed decreases. To do that, again I will use a rheostat here. I will use a rheostat. Okay. Initially, I'll keep the rheostat at cutout position. Sorry, cut in position. Let us take in opposite manner. Here initially we have taken cutout position. Here I take cut in position. Cut in position means what? Complete resistance is added. When the resistance is added, see here, I have a resistance, I have a winding, and here I am going to apply the voltage V. Now this V is get distributed between these two. Here I have V1, here I have V2. V1 and V2. When this resistance value increases, keep on increasing, resistance is directly proportional to voltage, that we know. When resistance increases, the voltage drop also increases. So as you increase the value of this resistance, maximum drop occurs here. Because we know that armature resistance means the winding resistance is very small. It is made up of copper. The resistance is very small. So when you have circuit like this, the maximum voltage out of V, for example, if you have 10 volts here, there might be very small voltage, 0.01 volts drop here. So remaining all drop, 10 minus 0.01 volt drop will be here. Like that. So here also same case. Armature is made up of windings. So this is a winding with a small resistance, very small resistance. As you have seen in the problem, it is hardly 0.1, 0.2 ohms. But here we have maximum resistance because our rheostat is in cut-in position. Cut-in means what? The maximum resistance of the rheostat is added. Now, out of this voltage Vs, maximum drop will be across this resistance, and Va is very small, very small, Ia times of Re. Since Re is very less, the drop will be very small. Now what happens when Va is small? What happens to our speed? Speed is also less. Speed is directly proportional to Va. We need to increase the speed. To increase the speed, what I have to do? I have to bring this rheostat from cut-in to cut-out position. So I'll move this gradually to cut-out position. When I start decreasing this resistance, means this resistance value I am decreasing. When I start decreasing this resistance value, along with that the drop also decreases. Means this drop also decreases. Obviously this voltage should get distributed between these two. There is no other chance for the voltage. There is no deviation. So if V1 decreases, obviously V2 should increase. So the armature drop Va, let me consider this as VRSH. Initially RSH is nothing but Vs. These two are equal. So now what I am doing? I am bringing this from cut-in to cut-out position. Cut-out means resistance is 0. So I am reducing this from maximum value to 0. When I take it to 0, there is no resistance. This will become a normal conduction line like this. Like this. So the complete supplied voltage will be applied across the winding. Similarly here, the complete supplied voltage will be applied across armature. So Vs is equal to Va. When Va is maximum, what happens to the speed? Speed is also maximum. So this is another method of controlling the speed. So this is flux control method. This is armature voltage control method. So we have two methods of controlling speed of a DC motor. So one is flux control method. In flux control method, we are controlling the flux by changing the field current. That is by adding the rheostat in series with the field windings. So in case of armature control method, we are controlling the armature voltage. How we are controlling? By connecting a rheostat in series with the armature winding. We are controlling the armature voltage. So hope it is clear. So this completes the DC motor part of fourth module. So fourth module is a mix of DC machines and induction machines. We are done with the DC machines. So let us recall everything. In DC machines, we have studied about what are all the types of DC machines, that is motors and generators. So in case of motors, how it will work, in case of generators, how it will work, what is the working principle of motor, what is the working principle of generator, the general construction features of DC machine along with the working of DC machine as a motor and as a generator. Then we have studied about armature torque equation, EMF equation, back EMF. So back EMF is very important thing. So then we have solved certain problems. Then the types of DC machines. So self-excited, separately excited. In self-excited, we need to study two types, that is series motor and shunt motor. So difference between series and shunt motors, problems on that. Then the last topic, separately excited DC machine. Speed control of separately excited DC machine. Just now we have studied in the flux control method, armature control method. Then speed or characteristics of separately excited DC machine. So these are all the topics which has to become under DC machines. So with the same fourth module, we have one more topic, that is induction machine, that we'll see next.